We must stop the terror. Now watch this drive.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncle Hack podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad you're here. Lots and lots to talk about. As always, there is war on the horizon. There's war on the horizon. And it's a trade war. The tariffs are coming. But thank God we got a man like Doug Ford leading the charge. What seems to be the move in Canada is just shuffle it around. But apart from that, speaking of shuffling around upcoming stand-up dates, January 24th, this weekend, Slave Lake, Alberta. January 25th, Fort Mac. Late show added in Fort McMurray. And then we have February 7th and 8th in Hamilton, February 15th in Edmonton, February 16th in Las Vegas, February 23rd in Calgary, March 7th in Cornwall, Ontario, March 8th in Ottawa, Ontario. We are working right now to add a Kingston show on the 6th of March. March 27th in Saskatoon, March 28th in Moose Jaw, April 4th in Drayton Valley, April 11th just added in Mayleg, Alberta, just outside of Bonnyville at Mikey Max, April 12th in Lloydminster, Alberta, April 25th and 26th in St. John, New Brunswick, April 27th in Fredericton, New Brunswick, May 10th in Medicine Hat, Alberta. DangerCatsShop.com for tickets. New merch added to the store as well. The Elaine Sat Here shirt, the most prolific political campaign of our time of bringing the queening chair back to politics. I believe it is necessary and we need to take a stance right away. So don't sleep on that. Elaine Sat Here shirts at DangerCatsShop.com. Extra episodes of the Uncle Hack podcast at patreon.com/DangerCats69 if you would like to support the show. If you would like to support the show, please head on over to patreon.com/DangerCats69. All links down in the description down below. And let's get into the show. They tried to stop us. They tried to push us out of Fort McMurray, which was what I thought a stronghold of, the chatter of men. HR departments were primarily non-existent until the late 90s up there. Then it's been a slow decline to get to a point where now what I thought was a fortress of just arrogant, over-masculine men, toxic masculinity. I thought this place was the breeding grounds of it. You would leave your small town of actually all across Canada. You would leave, if you weren't lazy and didn't want to ride Pogie on the East Coast, you came to Fort McMurray. It's little Newfoundland there. And over time, it's been infiltrated by the sounds of it, but they tried to strip us down and spank us, but we slithered out of the grips of the parents and were able to find a new location there and not only sell out a first show, but add a second. So, I hate to use the word cancel culture. It's more so just annoyed. It's I don't know what it is. I think it's just, we're always looking for purpose in our life. And I feel some people have found purpose in making, this journey of stand-up a little more difficult. And in the beginning, it was, is very successful in their court, but now it seems to be going the other way. It's very tiresome. You can only complain about morons like myself for so long before nobody wants to listen, I guess, is what I'm noticing. I am not on the other side of the fence, but this is just from my perspective, is now that we're on the other end of things in politically shifting, and people now feel it's okay to run around town and call everyone retards. And well, we're too early into the show to drop a fage. We don't need to be getting demonetized on YouTube. I could really use that 38 cents right now. So we will be restrained a little bit to sling out a fage right now, because I need the 38 cents that YouTube's going to plug in. And that's just considering that they don't put limited ads on this, because maybe I go off script a little bit here and do rip one. And then they're, no more, no cash for you. No cash for you. But on the other end of things now, we're seeing folks reach out to us and they want to book us at our venues, at their venues and have our show. And it's very heartwarming, to get through all that. It was a fiery crash and we survived it. And to move forward through it is it's nice, It's nice. It's nice to know that a roast battle joke from 3 years ago is forever going to be over my shoulder like a grim reaper, reminding me of hey, this is what you said. This is what you said. Like, all right, I fucking Christ, fucking, what do you mean? Get out of my ear. But it's good. If you do have, there's a lot of listeners on the show or of this show. If there's a spot you would like us to come to, it's easy to reach out to, hey, come here. But seeing as emails are the most persuading thing in the country right now, I would recommend, if you have a local comedy club, email them and ask for Danger Cats Comedy to come through. It seems that all it takes is a few emails to persuade these people into thinking that, either the end of the world is coming or we're fucking the Kiss reunion tour is coming through town. Either or, it works in the strength of an email. I don't know what it is. It's like almost like a fucking footnote on a pigeon. Back in the 1800s, they view this digital letter that you did. Boom, emails are the thing. Like in fucking comments, it was like when Winnipeg Yucks decided to take a stance about us. All of a sudden, the fucking comments flooded the other way that they didn't expect, and then you have to turn the comments off. You had to turn the comments off, which is embarrassing because you thought you were doing. You don't win. Either way, you're just getting nailed to the cross. Like, you're not talking your way out of the cuffs. You gotta. There's some sort of persecution in the social sphere, unfortunately, and I don't want to see that. You don't ever want to see people fucking going bananas over our nonsense, and then you gotta fucking pick sides and all this, and that's how we end up where we are now. Is in the middle of a trade war with President Trump, and watching all the premiers have meltdowns. They're pointing fingers at Alberta. Alberta's being like, well, what do you want me to do? We're rich. It's like watching some of the premiers of other provinces come forward it's like that family, those family members that are opinionated but just don't, you don't respect them enough to really hear them out. That's what it feels like when some of them step up. When someone, like when a province like New Brunswick is trying to finger wag at like Alberta or Saskatchewan, you're kind of like, what are you doing? What? Are we supposed to take you serious right now? And I'm not, and I know I'm biased because I'm saying this from the perspective of an Albertan, and the propaganda machine has got me ingrained to be like, fuck everybody east of Saskatchewan. That's the propaganda. You can skip Manitoba because you're like, What are we going to do there? What is really going on in Manitoba that's concerning the country? Wob he wants to go to the dump, and let him do so. He wants to go to the dump. That's what he wants to do. He wants to spend his time there. Let him go ahead. Enjoy yourself. Do what you need to do. Nobody's interrupting that. Nobody. Nobody outside of the provinces of Manitoba is concerned about him wanting to go search landfills. Go ahead. Go ahead. That's a provincial argument. We're out. I'm out. I got no opinion. What am I gonna? Your provincially funded search that you want to do. I've got no skin in the game. Do what you please. You voted for him. Let him go. He wants to go in there. Let him go. But you have then New Brunswick coming out. Well, I don't know. I know they don't speak like that, but when I think East Coast, my fucking prairie brain just thinks you're all newfies. That's it. I just think you're all newfies because I'm an idiot. And I've never, the first time I've ever been to the East Coast of Canada was last year. First time ever on the East Coast. And I'm supposed to act like I'm educated on this country? Well, it's the oldest part of Canada. Cool. Oh. Am I supposed to be excited about that? Well, then figure it out there. But Dougie Ford. This is where we're getting to, okay? A guy like Doug Ford steps up and now he wants to lead the charge on going to war with someone like America. A premier of Ontario wants to go to war with America. And, I look at a guy like Doug Ford and I think to myself, at best, this guy should be a manager at an Olive Garden. At best, that is the perfect job for him. It's a restaurant that nobody takes serious. It's not authentic Italian food. Fat slobs that come from the countryside. That's where they wish to dine at because it's like, oh, it's Italian food. And nothing says Italian like a Filipino serving to you. You want to go to somewhere where there's family heirlooms hanging on the wall. There's photos of celebrities with the father that started the restaurant. But no, let's go to the place that just shovels unlimited breadsticks down your throat and a salad that you're not going to eat. That's an authentic Italian restaurant. And Doug Ford has the aura, has the aesthetic of a human being that should be a manager there. The guy that comes up to the table after you're just full, you're to the brim, and he comes up in this what you would consider a fancy shirt because we are cut from the same cloth, and it's a shirt that you got on sale at a Winners, and you wear it to every wedding, every year. This is your one shirt that doesn't have a mustard stain or it hasn't been ruined by the hobby mechanic that you are in the garage. None of that. There's no oil or grease or dirt. It's not stained. This is your fancy shirt. This is the shirt that you wear to church once a year when a cousin gets married, and he comes up to the table at the end of the meal and he looks at the whole table. Hey, how was it? Right? He's got to be that guy bouncing table. How was the meal? And then proceeds to upsell you with the dessert menu. Hey, there's a guy that knows dessert. It's me. And pats his belly while looking at you. What do you say, Dad? Can we get you a cheesecake? That's what I envision with a guy like Doug Ford. That's the perfect position for him. A chain restaurant manager. At best, the sticker czar himself who planted arrows all across Loblaws so that way you can ensure that you get to the destination. You're running the map, the COVID map of Loblaws to ensure your safety, to ensure you are safe and sound in the grocery store. That's a desired position for a man of his stature. You want a chubby guy like that. A chubby, kind of bubbly personality. Oh, hey, how's it going? That's what you want to hear. When you go to a chain restaurant like a fucking, like an Olive Garden. He's the perfect guy, but instead now he's leading the charge. He's putting on hats that don't fit on his fat head and going out and persuading you into hey, Canada's not for sale. We're gonna put That's who. That's the guy. That's your leader out there in Ontario. Went out 4 scoops of snow out in the wintertime to help people that were stuck. What was that, 2022? Huffing and puffing because he hasn't done any physical activity since high school. The most, he considers a sit-up getting out of a lazy boy. And then he's out there shoveling snow for the Good Samaritans that are stuck during a snowstorm out in Ontario. And now, thank God, we have a hat war. That's the battle of the ball caps is what I'm being told here from our lovely correspondents over at, I believe, CTV News. That's our lovely correspondents over there. Why am I not? There we go. And we're gonna get, this is. I'll let him do a little bit of the talking here. Oopsie daisies.
The ball caps. In one corner, call it the Battle of the Ball Caps. In one corner, the familiar lid of Mega Nation, and in the other, hat today sported by Ontario's Premier.
Isn't that good? That's all you need. You just need good marketing these days, folks. You don't need to take anything serious in your life. You just need good good branding. Canada is not for sale. Canada is not for sale. He's going to buy, if he really wants, Trump, it sounds like, has an economic plan to destroy us. And here we are, we're infighting right now. We're scrambling. We're battling over the will of a dead father. That's what we're doing right now. We're battling over the will. Who's going to get what? Who can siphon off as much as they possibly can before, the estate sale happens? Who, you're going to have premiers running around trying to figure out where dad stashed his jewelry so they could get the wedding ring and hopefully some stuff that goes under the radar that nobody really notices. It's an estate sale and the family is stripping the body clean. The body's not even going in the ground with, his wedding ring. No wedding bands are going, well, I thought I would maybe be, use this to propose to my now third wife. I was going to use dad's wedding ring and mom's wedding ring, because I stripped it off her dead body before we plunged her 6 feet deep, and now I have dad's as well, and I was thinking I was going to use these at my third wedding. I was going to do that. That's the type of family that this country is. It's all over the map. Nobody has any identity. That's all removed. There's infighting. Nobody knows who's leading the charge. We're arguing over the will at the fucking funeral home right now. The dad isn't even in the ground yet. Come February 1st, we'll see how this all pans out. We'll see really what's going to happen. But until then, everybody's scrambling to get that last little nibble of whatever crumbs are left in the pie pan. It's a bloated pig, folks. It's a bloated pig. And we're all staring at it, waiting for it to, when those whales wash up on shore and everybody's like, stay back, this thing's going to fucking explode. That's Canada right now. And we're watching the destruction slowly happen before our eyes. And politically, we've never been further apart. And you're seeing it, and I know this is coming from the mind of somebody who's chronically online all the time and seeing the infighting taking place. And right now, Canadians' primary focus is what is Trump going to do? What is Trump going? We're waiting on his chess move. Meanwhile, he's already got inside our heads. Everybody right now is tossing up the idea on are we going to be a part of America? You have right-leaning guys that are kind of, they look at that Constitution and it looks pretty good, isn't it? Freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, and then the list goes on. After that, the First and Second Amendment, a lot of guys that lean right look at that and they'll be like, I could accept that. I could accept that. And then we get into the discussion of taxes and social programs and what would we lose, what would we gain, and now we're like we're mulling this over, where this has never really been a reality. I don't think, the Alberta First kind of separation of Alberta crowd has always heavily leaned on asking for the states to just, hey, take us on. And I think that comes with a lot of complications. I just don't think it's really something that could happen. And now we're looking that it potentially could. It potentially could. I'm not saying take that idea off, I'm not saying take the idea off the table, but it's definitely present, is it not? And this is a guy, who's not geopolitically well versed. I don't, you see these, but I'm just seeing the opinions of others. And left-leaning folks right now are like, are we going to just let fascism take over? We've been screaming about fascism for 15 fucking years. It's been fascism for 15 years. When's it coming? The left has been screaming about fascism. We can't have the fascists take over. What fascists? You think Pierre Poilievre, that's the fascist? If that's the face of fascism, honey, we're doing okay. If that is, because the last one we seen, I don't know, pretty extreme. I'm not getting motivated that much from a guy like Pierre Poilievre. So we can relax on the whole, the right is full of fascism. Fascism? Axe the tax? That's supposed to get me excited? That's supposed to get me out there throwing Roman salutes like I'm Elon Musk at the inauguration? That's supposed to get me excited? Come on. Enough. Okay, enough. Even the right-leaning people that, they're losing their patriotism. For the longest time, it was like Canada first. And now the idea of being a part of America, the whole identity of being patriotic it's out the car window. You flick the cigarette butt out the window. It's gone. It's lighting the world behind you on fire. That's what it's doing. And you're just charging to the screaming eagles and the stars and bars, thinking that this is going to become a reality, inviting it in. Because I believe that Canada has lost its identity. We don't know who we are. You can't, you ask a Canadian, what makes you Canadian? They're like, I fucking like Tim Hortons and playing hockey. Oh yeah? Shitty coffee and a sport? That's it? That's what's ingrained to us? Oh, fuck, bud. Listen to the way I talk, right? It's my language. And then that opens up an argument of being like, well, the first language on this land was, and then you got to do it, you got to do the land acknowledgements. And like, with nobody, there's no fucking Canadian identity. America has its identity. You meet a patriotic American, they can describe to you patriotic Canadians are just, it's what they envision the Freedom Convoy all the time. That's what it is. Patriotism is just the Freedom Convoy 24/7. That's why every other weekend you see like somebody's going online trying to rile up another reunion. That's what it is. It's not these stupid hats that Canada is not for sale. That's supposed to rally up patriotism. I mean, for God's sakes, Doug, find one that fits. Look at this hat that's sitting on top of his head. You're 90% of the way of a yarmulke. Look at this thing. It's just sitting on top of his head like a fucking yarmulke. He has such a fat head that who's ever selling these things could not get him one that fits. Unbelievable. But the hat is what, like, the battle of the hats. There's not even a nice, what is that? The acronym there? CINF. FS. Kinfs. At least MAGA. You know, you say MAGA, you can ignite a few fucking guys. You can sleeper agents become awake when they hear MAGA. You scream MAGA in a crowd of Americans at a tailgate at a football crowd or a football stadium. Sorry, football crowd. I'm all over the place here, folks. But you scream MAGA, you ignite them. Canada's not for sale. What are you going to yell that at a hockey game and have the whole crowd erupt? Canada's not for sale. They're going to be, what the fuck? Maybe a fuck Trudeau. A fuck Trudeau ignites folks down at the UFC events here. We've seen that. UFC comes to town here in Edmonton. All it took was one fuck Trudeau and everybody's like, fuck Trudeau. And then it was in unison. And a guy like Rogan is, he's listening in, he's chiming in, and he's like, holy shit. It's really taking a turn up there, isn't it? But no, Fat Dougie's got a hat on. Canada is not for sale. We should all unite behind this. Thank God. Thank God. He didn't even start this hat up. You know, we'll put a Canada flag on the side of it. People are going to love it. They're going to be out in the streets. They're going to be flooding the streets with this hat on. Canada is not for sale. What a stamp to put down, folks. What a stamp to fucking put down, yeah? No, don't worry about the Chinese military training in our northern Alberta. Don't look there. Don't look at Canada's not for sale. Don't look at all the Chinese investment in Banff, Alberta. Don't look there. Don't look at all the fucking Chinese investment in the oil industry, the foresting industry, our metal. They bought up all of our scrap aluminum. When does it end? Canada's not for sale. It's already been sold, Doug. Where you been? A fucking sticker salesman coming up. This is a guy, take a look at him. This is a guy that should be walking up to your table at the end of a big meal. You just shoveled down 4, maybe 5 breadsticks at the Olive Garden. Yeah, you had your fettuccine Alfredo with breaded chicken that was reheated in the back. You're sold the idea you're at some authentic Italian cuisine. And this slob comes waddling up to the table as you take that last wipe of Alfredo sauce off your lip, and he goes, how was it? And you look back at him and you go, not bad. Not bad at all. And yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? It's good stuff. I love the fettuccine Alfredo here. It's one of my favorite dishes. What do you say? Can we get you a few slices of cheesecake to wash it all down? Huh? That's this guy. That's what he should be doing. I don't need him on stage with a Canada's not for sale hat. Come on. Get with the program, Dougie.
Standing united.
Sported by Ontario's Premier.
Nothing is more important than standing united.
The message, sweet and simple, created by an Ottawa-based branding company.
Oh, yeah.
That suddenly had a crush of orders on its online store.
Yeah.
A real thrill, very proud to be Canadian, very proud to be an Ontarian.
The guy behind the company, Liam Mooney, used to be a political fundraiser.
Isn't that something? A political fundraiser. Isn't that something? Isn't that weird? And now he's got a marketing company. I wonder how much money from the federal and provincial government out in Ottawa. What a great place to put a headquarters, huh? And then we siphon off a nice little hat to Dougie. Canada's not for sale. I wonder how many hats went off the fucking shelves there, huh, folks? Boy, oh boy, that's all you need. Isn't it? Just a good branding. That's your branding? Canada's not for sale, slapped on a Yupong hat?
I would consider it a privilege to be taken over by the United States of America.
He was repulsed by comments made by a Fox News host to Premier Ford last week. He thought the message, Canada is not for sale, would resonate with fellow Canadians.
We heard the way that Jesse Waters was talking about Canada, this idea that it would be a privilege to be an American. Well, I've got news for those folks. It's a privilege to be Canadian.
Oh, yeah. It's a privilege. Let's talk about those privileges. It's a privilege to wake up every day and drive down any major highway, any 4-lane highway with an immigrant coming at you in a Hyundai Elantra that they just purchased, over-financed from, got scammed by some car salesman that's going to, this car is going to eventually be repoed. But it's a privilege to be seeing the headlights of that Hyundai Elantra coming down the opposite side of the highway they should be on, steaming at you because they don't know the rules of the road here. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to wake up and pay 50% taxes. It's a privilege to stand in line outside of a medical clinic for 5, maybe 6 hours in hopes of getting a family doctor. It's a privilege, okay? It's a privilege to be in a position like Liam here out in Ottawa that fired up a marketing company and has political affiliations from being a fundraiser in his previous life, that they can siphon off a little cash into the company. So he can come up with genius marketing ideas like Canada is not for sale on a Yupong hat that's been stitched by, Chinese immigrants out in Vancouver, out in a warehouse in Vancouver. They're making, you think it's a privilege. First off, it's a privilege to sew the hats in Vancouver and not in Gongze. I can't remember this town, but there's a city specifically that is dominantly known, that dominates the textile industry. Sorry. But it's a privilege to be doing that in Vancouver opposed to communist China, okay? It's a privilege to market these hats that have been produced over in China. That's right. And then you throw some easy little stitching on it and a Canada flag, and we start drooling over these things because Doug Ford put it on. And the folks that don't like Donald Trump, they're very, now all of a sudden they're patriotic overnight, and they want one of these hats, folks. They want one of these hats. It's a privilege. Keep that in mind. It's a privilege to wake up and pay $1.90, maybe $2.10 a liter for gasoline. It's a privilege to be bent over and shagged up your rim when you walk into a Safeway that's overcharged you for meat because they decided to add the weight of the packaging on the price of the meat. It's a privilege, okay? It's a privilege to have produce in your supermarkets that have very, very deadly chemicals they've been sprayed with to preserve that vegetable, and then covered in wax so you can ingest it. It's a privilege to have water that has fluoride in it. It's a privilege. Keep that in mind, folks. Keep that in mind as we chug along through this episode.
And it's an amazing privilege.
Mooney's got a second hat for sale with patriotic words from the anthem. And in keeping with being Canadian, the hats are available in English and French.
You see lots of Canadians wearing hats like that?
Maybe one day. It depends how crazy this gets.
In Quebec,
whoa.
if there's
What's happening?
Increase
Go back.
of illegal migrants.
Call it the Battle of
I respect other
words from the anthem. And in keeping with being Canadian, the hats are available in English.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
You see lots of Canadians wearing.
See, this is the general look of any Canadian in a city, just glazed. Look at the smile. You have the fool's smile going on, and a glaze over their eyes, like they've been staring in the sun for the past 10 years, and it's just a smile and nod. This is a fucking someone who's been in Guantanamo Bay, tortured, and now they're released back into public solitary confinement, and they're like, oh yeah, fucking I don't know what's going on anymore. Electrocuted with propaganda to the point where their head spins off this planet. Oh yeah, look at this Canadian Canada Goose jacket, Tim Hortons cup. This is a patriotic Canadian. What do you say? Do you want a strong and free toque to go march around the city in? Wouldn't that make you feel more patriotic? Wouldn't that make you feel more patriotic?
hats like that?
I mean, maybe one day. It depends how crazy this gets.
Would you wear a hat like that?
I would wear a badge, a hat, whatever, but in my heart, it's inscribed.
I don't know what it is with Middle Eastern folk and they're like the guy that I am very sorry from my heart. They love to express their emotions from their heart as they sit here and tell you nonsense. From my heart.
I'm a Canadian. I respect other countries, but we are not for sale.
And he hopes eventually the hats themselves will be 100% Canadian made.
Oh yeah, one day we can all dream, and then that toque will cost you $70. Because who are we getting off their ass? Who's getting off their ass to go sew toques these days, folks, huh? Is it you? Is it me? I highly doubt it. But we have more from, with that. You have to go into a campaign with good branding. And Canada is not for sale isn't quite there. So he's failing in the marketing department when it comes to branding. The branding of Doug Ford is not strong enough. Similar to Pierre tried with the Axe the Tax. You got to have something that rhymes a little bit, that or ignites passion. Ignite some form of passion or patriotism, where Donald Trump captures that with the Make America Great Again. They slandered it his first term by calling it a racist. It's a dog whistle for the far right, and the list goes on. And you gave power to powerless people to scream and yell at folks that were behind the messaging. And it just took the presidency of Joe Biden. It took a term of Joe Biden for the whole country to be like, you know what, maybe we do need to make America great again. And everybody hopped behind it. Where right now we don't have the messaging. Canada is not for sale is not going to be the messaging to push you to the upper echelon of great marketing. Maybe get away from that autistic weirdo that's siphoning money off of the federal government and provincial government. I can only imagine if we took a deep dive into this guy's marketing company of where the funds are truly coming from. I'm sure it would be very, very disappointing, wouldn't it, folks? It would be very upsetting. But that, moving forward, is if you're going to take a stance like that, then don't threaten the public. Like, this is where Dougie's fucking up. This is where Dougie needs me. Get me in front of the camera, and then I deflect all the attention off of you, and you work in the background. That's what should be happening, because now his big move moving forward is going to be threatening to pull U.S. alcohol from the LCBO in response to Trump tariffs. Okay, not really the smartest move, but as this goes on, I do like watching Doug shoot himself in the foot.
Direction to the LCBO.
Let's take a listen.
And have sent a direction to the LCBO, these tariffs come, to clear off every bit of U.S. alcohol off the shelves.
Well, that ain't good.
Let's start promoting more Ontario-made wines and the vodkas and spirits. That's what we need to do. We're the largest purchaser of alcohol in the entire world.
Isn't that something to brag about? Yeah, the country is it's in shambles. We're the biggest purchaser of alcohol in the whole entire world. We're piss bags. The only thing that's keeping a guy alive right now is having a nice cold drink at the end of the day to escape the reality that they live in. That is really something. Everybody in my goddamn province is a piss bag, because I cannot steer this casino boat, like this riverboat casino, in a direction where it's profitable. All right. And now I'm threatening to take away the one thing that they enjoy. enjoy. And it's like, hey, why don't you try a nice Ontario-made wine? Why don't you some spirits? How about some vodka? Well, because the vodka that they make here is expensive, and that booze that they have been importing for the past, I don't know, since I've been alive, I've acquired a nice taste to it. I know how many drinks it's going to take to flatline me so I forget that the world exists. And I destroy my family. I destroy my family with my words and violent actions. Daddy's had a few cocktails. I'm going to kick the front door down, and let's hope mommy is hiding in the closet. That, or you better pray to God that you're downstairs playing video games, because I'm too hammered to make it down the steps, sonny boy, because Dad is feeling feisty. And he just got told from his boss that they're cutting some hours because the tariffs are a-coming, and we got to save money around here. And now Big Dougie Ford is planning on stripping away the one thing that I enjoy in my life. He's going to remove all that alcohol produced in America and ship it back. And that's going to make Daddy a little more angry because he might have some withdrawals. There might be some withdrawals in trying to find a new cocktail to stifle the addiction, to stifle the mood.
I will make sure I communicate this to our other premiers that they should be following suit.
Yeah.
Ford says part of the strategy would be to target Kentucky bourbon. The premier adding he recently spoke with Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, urging the state leader to talk to Trump about the incoming president's tariff threats.
That's the big threat. That's the big threat. Buckle up. No booze for you. You do not get to enjoy what's left of this crumbling nation. No drinky booze for you at the LCBO. See, this is what happens when you allow the government to control every aspect of our lives. You know, it's now you don't get your sweet little treats when you come home. You got bad branding. This fat slug, this fucking should be goddamn manager of a chain restaurant. Not even a good one either, you know. At least like when you think of Cactus Club, you have hot waitresses, you have hot people working there, you know. You go to a fucking Boston Pizza or an Olive Garden. It's like, God Almighty, you question your self-worth. That's what you start to question. You question everything around you. With that, news just keeps breaking. And now Trump has pardoned all the January 6th participants, which is hilarious. You know, Nancy Pelosi and all them are calling this the greatest threat on American soil. Isn't that something? The greatest threat, to people. Now, actually, there was a few planes flown into government buildings, but I mean, this is the greatest threat to ever take place on American soil. A couple of buildings went down to fiery ashes, and some question on how they got there. You know, was it a demolition? Was it not? You know, does jet fuel melt steel beams? We will never know that. We don't know the science. We've tried trusting the science for the past 4 or 5 years, and it didn't quite work out. So what's the science? Who knows? Who cares? But this was the greatest threat on American soil, and Trump just pardoned these people, and now they're out in the wild again. And I think there is one particular individual that we need to zero in on who is quite entertaining throughout the whole ordeal that took place at the Capitol on January 6th, and that is the QAnon Shaman. He is back, baby. That was a very entertaining individual. Who storms the Capitol in a buffalo helmet with horns on it? I don't even know what was going on. This guy looked like he was celebrating a birthday at Montana's. Happy birthday. He's got war paint on, going through there with like a fox over him, waddling up and down, taking shits on Nancy Pelosi's desk. He's kicking his feet up in Congress. It was hilarious. Now that this guy's out, he is out and about. He is going to become a social media star. Mark my words. I'm calling it right now. This is going to be a very entertaining individual. Because that's what entertain. He's going to be a TikTok star. He's going to be doing TikTok dances. That's what he's going to be doing. He's going to be giving you vegan recipes. He was bitching in prison that there was no vegan options. That's what he was doing. I remember reading articles, I believe we even covered it on this show, is that he was going to the prison saying, this is atrocious. This is absurd. that you have no vegan options that I can ingest. I've So now I'm predicting that this stable gentleman is going to be, he's gonna fire up some social media accounts, and he's gonna become a star because this is what we want. We tried, my generation, the barrier to entry wasn't as easy as it is now to become a social media star. I mean, we have the Costco family, which is sheer insanity. That's what we need. We need a collaboration of the Costco family and the QAnon Shaman doing a vegan cheese bake or some shit. That's what we need. We need them reviewing food together. Vegan options, the QAnon Shaman, okay? And we got like our article here. And it's brilliant. Now, here we go. QAnon Shaman parted by Trump and plans to buy some motherfucking guns to celebrate. The notorious January 6th rioter, known as the QAnon Shaman, has been pardoned by President Trump and plans to celebrate by buying some guns. That's the most American shit I've ever heard in my life. Jacob Chansley, who suffers from mental health problems. Oh, who would have guessed? And emerged as the poster boy of the riot for storming the U.S. Capitol shirtless in a homed coyote fur headdress. Learned the good news from his lawyer Monday night after Trump pardoned him and about 1,500 others, other January 6th defendants on his first day back in office. I got pardoned, baby. Chansley, 37, posted on X on Monday night. Thank you, President Trump. Now I'm going to buy some motherfucking guns, the Arizona man wrote. Now, that's exactly what you want to hear from somebody like this. Where is it? Chansley, who federal prison officials diagnosed with transient schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, and anxiety, served 11 months in solitary confinement during his prison stint, according to his former lawyer. Now, that is a man that you want to get out and immediately buy weapons. That is exactly who you want to. Solitary confinement, which we've now learned is not very good, even just on the basis of lockdowns that have taken place in this country. We see how humans are acting out in public now. Not exactly our best, is it? And now you have a man diagnosed with all of these mental disorders who has been in solitary confinement for 11 months and now released back into into just open air. Where am I going with this? Never mind. And now this gentleman, his first order of business is buying some motherfucking guns. And we scratch our heads and wonder, how do you end up with a man wielding a weapon outside of Comet Pizza, screaming about, hey, John Podesta, where's the kids? Where's the kids? While wielding a weapon outside of Comet Pizza in Washington, D.C. You wonder how we get there, folks, and it's this right here. But I think you get a camera crew on this man and watch what he does every day. He should be live streaming like he's FouseyTube. That would be an interesting watch. I could only imagine what a day-to-day looks like for this gentleman right here. That's got to be some entertaining stuff. The QAnon Shaman, that's what we deserve. That's what we need. It's 10 times better than anything that the CBC can produce up here. I mean, what are we going to do up here, huh? Are we going to reignite the Little Mosque on the Prairie, huh? Is that what we're going to do? Let's get 4 more seasons of Schitt's Creek. What are we doing? There is nothing entertaining being produced up here, but this right here is what we need. We need men like Chansley, the QAnon Shaman, with cameras in their hands, running around, free as a bird, after something like the Capitol, and I say this in quotations, riot. That's the man we need and we deserve, with a camera in his hand and a loaded weapon out in public in an open carry state like Arizona. Genius. This is why sometimes I feel that we need to be a part of America. We need to be in the zeitgeist. We need to contribute. We are boring individuals up here. We are boring individuals. What are we doing in the streets? We're still screaming about Palestine? Is that what we're doing? You go to Toronto, that's the only thing. They're gathering every Saturday to go scream about Palestine. Still, the ceasefire's here. It's over. Let's find something new. We've been doing the Palestine thing for a year, and nobody really bought into it. Nobody really, there was no real counter-protester showing up. Every now and then you get a Jew and a Palestinian supporter, a Hamas supporter, as they would call it, and they'd get a back and forth. And we barely seen a pushing match, okay? There was zero entertainment out of that. It was just psychopaths out in the streets that forgot to take their pills that day. Now, the Capitol 6 riots, that's entertainment. And now that they're out, and this man can legally step outside and go and purchase weapons, genius. Like when we all knew that the TikTok ban was all just fluff at the end of the day. We all knew that, right? Every single one of us knew that app produces too much money. I imagine it was a transfer of servers in the back end, or Meta or Twitter or these fucking tech oligarchs banded together to purchase this app because it produces way too much money. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't going anywhere, but it was just nice to watch people worry. Like, oh God, the one thing that I've invested my whole life into is gone overnight. Yeah, well, sugar, that's it. What do you want me to say? What are we doing? We're upset that an app, and seeing how silly Americans are, that they labeled this app in the beginning. It could possibly be a security breach, because they didn't know where the data was being stored, right? And now Americans are running after they threatened to ban TikTok, right? After they threatened to ban TikTok, Americans were running to this app, Red Note, which is hilarious because they're like, China is actually really good. But that is actually an app owned by the Chinese Communist Party. TikTok is banned in China. It is banned in China. And then, and now you're discussing, it's a heavily monitored app. Immediately, they banned all the gay stuff that the Americans were up to. Immediately. It was banned. You're not allowed to do that. And then on top of it, you got to remember the people that are on that app are good Chinese Communist Party citizens. So they advocate for this. They're not outspoken. Those people don't get access to the internet. We know so little on what's going on over there that the fact that I don't know. I got to stop. I'm getting upset. Okay. I'm getting upset. Okay. You know what? Know what we haven't done in a long time? We're going to move along. Know what we haven't done in a long time is we've gotten a voice note. And it's been sitting in my drive here. Hold on. For a minute, and I keep forgetting to put it on the show. So guess what? Hey, folks, you want to air your grievances? You want to tell us something great? Anything really? You can just send the show a voice note. Email it to me, unclehack@dangercats.tv, and maybe we'll air it. I'm all for freedom of speech, and I don't say what you want. It does not reflect on me what you say, okay? And I know a lot of people, I can't believe you would platform something like that. Shut the fuck up. Sometimes people just want to talk some shit. Some people want to celebrate a win. It's all up to you. You can record a voice note on your phone and email it to me. And if you wish to have your name told, put it in the email, whatever you would like. But if you don't say nothing, that's fine. Then I'm just going to, whatever you put in the voice note, we'll play it on the show. Uncle Hack at dangercats.tv. Here we go.
Hey there, Hack.
Hey there.
Mike from Ottawa Valley here calling in, or I guess putting in a voice note here, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, I'm not sure if you're still doing the hate mail or just sending in a viewer voice note or what the hell is going on here, but if so, I'd appreciate you put it on the show. Anyways, everyone always has something to whine about these days, and I suppose I'm just the fucking thing. Tell you the truth, I work in camp in Northern Ontario. I'm a gold miner. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Quite the hitch away from the old lady, but besides the fact, really getting sick and tired of these goddamn pasties. Gotta fucking deal with them everywhere. I'm from a little small town, and they're starting to invade. It was the Subway, and now it's Sasso, and now it's Pizza, and especially your favorite establishment, the goddamn Boston Pizza. Like, they're just fucking everywhere. Well, now to really put the cherry on the cake, I get into camp there the other night, and what do I see? Goddamn towel head standing there at the sink, now telling us to wash our hands. Now, I'm quite the Neanderthal knuckle dragger, but even I have not
couldn't tell
sense in my fucking skull that when you go into a camp kitchen, you end up washing your hands before you go in, because you're not a filthy piece of shit. But anyways, you can't seem to get away from them. They're taking over everywhere, and I'm getting goddamn sick and tired of it. I fucking hate them, and I really think that they should all be shot and pissed on.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, you have yourself a good one there, Mr. Hack, and just remember, if you're having a few pints, for every mile of road, there's 2 miles of ditch. Now you take her easy, and if she's easy, take her twice, and if she's not easy, send her on down the road to me.
Well, there you have it. The overall frustration of Canadians now is dealing with, I guess, not washing your hands prior to going into a camp restaurant, huh? I could right immediately as I heard that accent, I thought to myself, well, I know where this is headed, and I was right. And I like the advice at the end there. Fucking, they pile it on, don't they? They pile it on. But there you go. He released his frustration on the show. I hope that it was therapeutic for you. It got it all out there. You feel better. I hope that, this is therapy for, the redneck Dr. Phil. And you're airing your thoughts and feelings, no matter what they are. They can reflect on yourself. I may comment on them. I may not, but it seems that you have, by the end of it, you were quite spry and felt good that you were releasing that tension inside. And that's what we aim to do here at this show, is release the tension. Have us come together, come together right now on my face. And with that, I say good night, everybody. And if you wish to support the show, patreon.com/dangercats69. Head on over, description down below. Hit the description down below, all ticket links and blah, 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 merch, dangercatshop.com. Thank you for tuning in to another episode, and we will see you next week, Thursday, 3 p.m.